What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? I hope y'all are having a good fantasy basketball week. As we know, today is Sunday, so we are just hitting the end of the line. A lot of matchups are finishing up now. I know a lot of people are involved in some close, heated battles. Some people are in the semifinals. Other people are in the first round of their playoffs. So this is a really interesting time for a lot of people. I know that when playing fantasy basketball, I think that the number one thing that I'm seeing and that I'm getting from a lot of people in the DMs is how to properly use your moves and how to use your moves in a way to make sure that your team is balanced and effective, because a lot of people play with moves limits. So you may only get 4 moves or 5 moves throughout the week that you're able to do. So if you only have 4 to 5 moves, you have to be very careful about how you use your moves and plan them accordingly. You just can't go picking up one guy, 2 guys at the beginning of the week and not leave yourself any leeway for the end of the week. And you can also don't want to sit on some moves and then just try to use them all on the final day and only find out that you can only have 2 or 3 players that you're able to drop, or you're adding really bad players. One of the main things that you're going to have to do throughout this week right now is you're going to have to plan out how your roster is going to be. Like, which are the guys that are expendable? Which are the guys that you can cut? And who's available on your free agent wire that you're able to get that would help your team throughout the week? And I think this is out of the Fantasy Basketball League Finder group, JC's group. I definitely love this group. Great group to be in. But one of the best parts about it is he posts things like this. Now, with this, what this breakdown does for you is it shows you who's playing games and when. So we have 5 games this week coming from Dallas, OKC, and Toronto. So when you're looking at a player on the waiver wire, right, and the player comes from Indiana or it comes from Toronto, and you see that, let's just say maybe Birch or Brissett, right? Because Brissett is the hot up-and-coming topic in Indiana. He's been getting the minutes. He got a double the other night. Right now, there's no Miles Turner. Sabonis is on the mend. So, you're looking at that situation. You're like, who do I go with, Birch, or do I go with Brissett? And I think that some of these games are going to come into factor. Guys like Brissett, I mean, not Brissett, like Birch are really interesting to me. Your Dallas guys like Dorian Finney-Smith, Jalen Brunson, even Maxi Kleber. Maxi Kleber becomes very interesting this week because Kristaps Porzingis is out. And with Kristaps Porzingis being out and Dallas having 5 games this week, picking up a guy like Maxi Kleber at the start of your week and saying, I'm going to pick him up to start the week and I'm going to pretty much hold them throughout, use them for the 5 games, becomes an effective waiver wire move that you do, especially when you only have like 4 to 5 moves. So you have to be very calculated with these moves, and you need to use them in a way that you're going to maximize your return on investment. So if you're going to use one of these moves, you need to get as many games out as possible, and it needs to be in a situation where you can maximize what your team does well, because it's not just good enough to make a move. Because if you just make a move to add a hot free agent, yes, that's cool, but if it doesn't help your team and the categories you need to win, you're defeating the purpose. Because the guy you add who's the hot free agent that you think is just a hot guy to add, but he's not the proper guy for your team, might hurt you in the one category that you need and help you in 2 categories that you don't. And even though he's a great guy right now, he might not be the great guy for your team. So I think this is a situation now where you need to evaluate, what categories am I going for? What categories is this guy good at? Who are my 2 or 3 guys that I can drop during this week? So this way I can make my moves and say, okay, this is my streaming position. And in this streaming position, who's getting the games played? And depending on who's playing these games, boom, you make your pickups, you make your plays. Like one guy that I'm really interested in, and I didn't pull him up yet, and I'm going to pull him up right now for you guys, is out of Denver, because we know with the Denver situation, Barton is out. You have Jamal Murray's out. Okay, Campazzo's really not that great, but a guy like PJ Dozier, okay, he's up plus 11 in the past day. Okay, he's at 13% rostered right now, so you're seeing him in most of probably the Premier Leagues. They're going for immediately, but I would say that's a guy that you could look at. He has 4 games coming up on the schedule. He has a game on Monday, then he has a back-to-back on the 28th and 29th. I think that's a really sweet guy that you can pick up and you could possibly add onto your lineup. Okay, as someone that is looking up. And another guy is Birch, like I said, playing from Toronto. They just got him off of waivers. I don't see them not giving him the run throughout the rest of this week. He's going to play all 5 games. And we know that OJ Anunoby and Pascal Siakam more than likely are going to be benched during periods of time during this week. I just cannot foresee it not happening. Another thing is, if we're looking here, Brooklyn has 4 games this week coming up. So to me, what that means is more than likely we're going to see 1 or 2 games that either Kyrie or KD won't play, I feel like, more than likely. So this week, Kyrie played all his games. Okay. But another guy that we're going to look at here and we have to think about is with the Clippers, what's going to happen with Kawhi Leonard? Kawhi Leonard has been out, I want to say over the last week and a half with a foot injury. They had evaluated him at needing only 3 days. Okay. But right now he has a game on Monday, and I don't think he plays again until about the Thursday-ish, Wednesday-ish. So honestly, for me personally, I'm hoping that they keep Kawhi Leonard on the injured list for at least that game Monday, bring him back at the end of the week, so I still have that roster flexibility to make some moves, stream some guys, and get the counting stats in that I need in order to be effective to win. Now, real quick, Godwin was someone that I had mentioned to you guys a couple of days ago. And if we look at what he's done, he's been really solid. Although the one problem for him is that the minutes upside really isn't there. That's why I personally made a move where I flipped Goodwin for Dozier, because I feel like Dozier's minute upside right now is really good. And Dozier's line that he had in his last game was really interesting to me, because he shot 76% from the field. He had 3 3-pointers, 23 points made, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, no turnovers. So PJ Dozier to me is a better pickup than Godwin. But Godwin, I think for the time being, and if you have a need for it and you don't have a PJ Dozier there, I think he's an interesting pickup for you, especially since they have 4 games this week, and I think you'll get a decent amount of burn. I heard that he came out to start the second half with the starting lineup, but as we see and we look here, his line right now isn't nothing really to write home about. Yes, he can get hot and deliver like he did on the 23rd. I did have him in for that game in my other league, but at the end of the day, I do think that if you have an upside pickup like a PJ Dozier, I would take that upside over him. But for the most part, if you can get a guy like this is a solid guy to ride going into these next couple of games that we have, especially since, like we saw here, he has 4 games coming up. He's a guy that I'd want to add early in the week, try to ride out his games and take advantage of his counting stats, because he's not the best player. But if he can make up, for the lack of his quality with some more quantity and giving me more games played, then let's just say my guys that I have, here with the Clippers and with the Golden State Warriors and with the Detroit Pistons. Because Detroit, I mean, we've been streaming guys like Stewart, but now that Plumlee's back, he's been messing up Stewart's counting stats. So we're going into this week, we're going to have to really evaluate how long are we going to hold Stewart? How long are we going to hold Bay? What are we going to do in this situation with Josh Jackson as we make our moves? Because this is a championship week for a lot of people, or a semifinal week for a lot of people. You can't get cute with it, and you can't hold on to guys too long because you're passionate about them, or they're a really solid guy. At a certain point in time, you have to cut bait and add things that you need in order to win, and you're gonna have to stream guys, and you're gonna have to make it happen. Okay. Another guy that we're looking at, Mo Bamba. Mo Bamba has been an interesting play over his last couple of games. He's really been killing it. Well, his last game, he really showed up and delivered. But tonight, he is really throwing up a dud. I really expected more from Bamba, and I'm kind of really disappointed in him. I think he's becoming a scary option to play coming down the stretch, but I think is a tantalizing option because of his upside. I think it's really going to depend on what goes on with Wendell Carter. And, if he's going to get minutes under 20 and they're going to use him like this, it's hard to put him on the roster, because, yes, you can get this 11-9 game, but you can also get this 2-8 game. Or if we're looking at today, it's a 3-2 game. So we have to see how this game closes out. It's only in the second quarter, so we could definitely have a big second half. We don't know what's going to happen yet, so we can't call this one yet. But that's what the trends are saying, and that's what the line is saying. Okay, Melton was someone that we had spoken about earlier, and again, he's just too hit or miss right now, and his shooting percentage is just down. So I see that he's up 12% in the last day. I just honestly, I would be backing off of him. I think that maybe just people are doing it in desperation. And this is why I'm saying that you want to plan out your moves so you're not making desperate moves like this. And you can try to get the hot guys that are coming up and coming about. And this is one of these guys. And the reason why is just because there's not enough bodies over there with the Pacers. And he's been able to deliver with that, especially in his last couple of games. And today, so far, it's just another situation, like I said. They're starting off slow, but they do have the upside and they do have the minutes potential. So far he's already played. He's going to roughly play more than half of the first half, and we're expecting something more from this guy, just because of volume. There's nobody else there, so he should be able to get the run. And based on all this, I'm assuming Wendell Carter is probably having a really great game. But really today, what I wanted to do is I wanted to just come on and kind of give you the heads up about, okay, you need to look at what games are being played. Okay, who's playing the games, what free agents you want to target, trying to maximize your moves and maximize your roster. Understand that every free agent is not for you. Pick the ones that actually deal with what you're looking for. Yes, another guy may be better, but if at the end of the day you're good in certain areas and he hurts you in other areas, it doesn't make sense to pick him up. So I want you guys just to be aware and be ready for this week, because this week is going to be a crazy week if you're in the championships and if you're in the semifinals. And if you have any questions, you always know you can give us a message, or you can DM us. Okay, we answer all questions. We try to help everyone the best that we can. Okay, and with this lineup and with this setup, I think that it gives you the knowledge that you need, because Toronto and OKC have a lot of guys that are on the waiver wire, that you might be able to snag at least one or two of them. We know that they're tankers, so that they're trying to bench their best guy. So it's going to give some guys an opportunity to play that normally wouldn't, and that's what you want when you're streaming. That's kind of situations that you salivate for, and you try to risk it for the biscuit, or just sometimes take an L. But some of these situations are going to be too good to not take advantage of. So on that note, I wanted to keep it nice and easy today. I wanted to mainly talk strategy with you guys on understanding how to set up your week, what you're looking for, how you should use your moves. Don't turn and burn all your moves early. Save them for when you need to make your moves, and understand what you're doing and analyze your situation, because that's the way to win. All right. I wish everyone the best of luck. We're going to be doing this. I want to say I'll be going live at least 2 to 3 times this week. I want to say at least Monday, Tuesday. I'll probably do a Thursday and a Friday this week as far as lives go, just to make sure that we got some players going on. If you have any comments about your teams, feel free to drop them. I'll be able to answer them and give you some feedback. But this is going to be a big week for a lot of people, and we're here to help and just share information. I'm not perfect. I don't get everything right. But what I can do is I can present you the information that we have, give you the knowledge of what you need to be looking for, and let you make the best decision possible for your team so you can win your leagues. All right, guys, this is the Daily Sporting. I am the talented Mr. Taco. We are out, and have a wonderful day.
Hey, David and Taco, they bring that heat. All about UFC, way more than a fantasy. Let's see who going toe to toe. Throw down on the mat, check the replay, run it back. We gotta check the stats. Hey, do this every day. We ain't come to play. This is sports talk, and we love talking MMA. Everything fantasy sports. Dopest show that I know. With Electric Dave and